You're listening to Inside the Locker Room with Wimp and Barry Sanderson on Tide 100.9 in Tuscaloosa. Inside the Locker Room with former Crimson Tide basketball coach Wimp Sanderson and his son, former SEC and ACC assistant basketball coach Barry Sanderson. It's time to take you inside the locker room on your home for Alabama sports. Tide 100.9 and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.
And good morning and welcome into Friday edition of Inside the Locker Room. 205-342-9904. 04 is the phone number if you'd like to get in with us this morning. Beautiful morning out there. The moon, man, that thing is beautiful. Well, I guess it may be gone now, but driving in this morning, a little cool in the air. It's a great time for weather. Build you a little fire outside. And build you a 5-star backyard. How do you do that? You use Yellowwood, Chase. You use pressure-treated pine from Great Southern. If it doesn't have the yellow tag on it, then you certainly don't want it. Go to yellowwood.com to find the dealer that is closest to you. Download the Tide 100.9 app to your smartphone, and you can take us with you anywhere you go. Also, if you want to email us, the email for the show is wimpandbarry@yahoo.com. Alabama will take on Wake Forest tonight. I don't even know where Boutwell Auditorium
is. I was supposed to go, and I'm not going to be able to.
Yeah, it's on YouTube TV if you want to watch it. I might have to figure that out, how to make that happen. But 7 o'clock, Steve Forbes, I should have gotten Coach Forbes on, a good friend of mine. He's a very, very good basketball. He was a junior college guy forever. He was with Bruce Pearl at Tennessee, and he's been at Wake Forest now here for several years and done a really good job there. So they will defend you, and so it'll be a good test for Alabama. Alabama with a few players out, but where is Boutwell, Dad? Where is that?
Oh,
I mean, I know it's in Birmingham, but
it's not hard to find.
Yeah. Anyway, I saw them. They put the court in, and but it should be a good test for Alabama tonight up in Birmingham. Good morning, Chase. Good morning, Dad. How are you guys this morning?
Hanging in there. Of course, I wouldn't dare start talking about the program, any programs that I talked about my Cleveland team. It looked like we were doing okay. They hit back-to-back home runs on us. It looked like it was going to be one of these deals where we're going to go down 3-0. But I know it's going to be hard when you play the first two games on the visitor's place and you lose. That means you're going to have to come back, probably. But anyway, we got the thing tied, and with a home run, and then David Fry hit a 2-run home run in the 10th inning to win it for us. Really a good win. Really a terrific baseball game, I thought. I think everybody enjoyed it, regardless of who you're for. It's going to be hard for us to win it all. I think we're not near as good as they are. But anyway, we go tonight, and then win, lose, or draw. We go back to New York, so that would be a little bit difficult. Although home field advantage is not quite as big, but 2 home runs by them and 2 home runs by us was big. Bud Cantley is second from Alabama in the Shriners Golf Tournament, which is good. Marshall won 35-20 over Georgia State. Virginia Tech beat BC 42-21. It was 28-0 in favor of Virginia Tech.
Yeah, I know. I flipped it over from the baseball game. Flipped it back. It was 28-21.
28-21. And then they went ahead and scored a touchdown, made it 42-41. I was interested in baseball, but I watched the other game too. In the NFL, the Broncos won 33-10. The Knicks got some playing time in, and he has a chance to do well for Denver. He had 164 yards passing, and he ran for 75 yards. Just to show you, a couple of our listeners have made some comments about this, just to show you how coaches are getting disgusted with trying to raise money. Tony Bennett, who is at Virginia, not easy to raise money at Virginia, won the national championship in 2019. Dad was a terrific coach. He's a very good basketball coach. Announced his retirement yesterday in a very awkward situation. He's announcing it now, and Tony is getting out of it. He's had enough trying to raise money at Virginia, I think, and trying to keep a good team there because probably a little bit difficult to do so. So he is getting out, and I think that is news. If you're a basketball fan, that's news. So we'll see. Also, Estrada, Aaron Estrada, who played for Alabama, was waived yesterday. He has some kind of rookie contract, but he was waived yesterday. So we'll see. We have Garth Griswold on today. That's the best time he could be on. Is reason today. We had enough Tennessee stuff yesterday, but welcome your calls. And then Sunny, and then we'll have whatever they would like to have out of the out of whatever. So I got so much going, I don't know where I'm going. But anyway, that's about all that I need to say. We welcome your calls, and again, appreciate people calling in. As I said, Bud Cauley is second, tied for second, which is good for an Alabama golfer. That's all.
Yeah, so currently Estrada was let go. Charles Bediako was cut. Kyra Lewis, who was with the Pelicans, I think he had gone, I don't know, but he's no longer on the NBA roster. Josh Primo, who had the problem. Over in San Antonio's first-round pick, he kind of, I don't know what he did. He did something stupid. But anyway, he was getting another opportunity with Chicago, but he was cut, and Alex Reese was cut. So former players right now on NBA rosters. Noah Clowney's with Brooklyn. Keon Ellis is with the Sacramento Kings. Herb Jones with the Pelicans. And, of course, Brandon Miller with the Hornets and Colin Sexton. So those are currently the only NBA players right now on roster. I saw people criticizing Tony Bennett for doing it now, and they said it was not health reasons. He's having a press conference today.
No, it wasn't health reasons.
No, I'm saying they said it was not health reasons, and so people are criticizing, why are you walking down your team? Practice just started. Guys, in some ways, I think the timing is not great, but if his heart is not into it and he doesn't, I think the agent stuff, the NIL stuff, the transfer portal stuff, his heart is not in it anymore. Would you rather him stay there and continue to coach and be miserable doing it, or just give somebody else a chance? He's probably not taking their money. And so I think it's probably admirable. When you criticize somebody, you have no idea what he's going through. And so it just is frustrating.
Through you football people who talk so much of the coaches who've resigned, and maybe don't keep up with basketball, he's a terrific coach. When you win the national championship in 2019, and he just had enough, and you can't keep it going sometimes. You try to coach your team at the same time you're getting a knock on your door about somebody trying to transfer, then you're getting another knock about you weren't able to raise any money, losing this guy and that guy. It's hard to really, when you've been in it a long time, just stay in it.
I just don't get the criticism. I was thinking about this, Dad and Chase you're obviously a lot younger than we are, but I can remember when I was growing up, and you have elections, this, that, and the other. The people weren't so critical of one another. Now we're teaching our kids even the stuff that comes out of both sides, just always talking bad about people. I just don't remember it being that way. Just, hey, talk about what you're going to do and what you're going to say. Quit bad-mouthing everybody. It's just, what are we teaching our kids? I got 8-year-old son in my house, and he's watching all this, and he thinks this is a normal way to do it. I don't remember it ever being like this. Now, you didn't have the social media and all those things. So, anyway, I just thought I'd say that. Jared Curtis, Dad's a 5-star quarterback, 2026 from Nashville, Tennessee. He's been committed to Georgia. He just decommitted. And he said, I want to open up my options. and I want to see what's there. And what it says to me is there's NIL out there now, and I probably want to figure out where I can get the best deal now. I'm sure he'll go to a good place, but so Georgia now only has 2 players committed for the 2026 class, but he's decommitted, and so I think these guys right now, when you commit so early, if you're really, really good, there's probably options out there financially that are better. So I don't know that we'll see people as committing as early as they used to, because they won't know what kind of deals they have. Do you believe that you'll see it that way as well?
Yeah, I agree. And one other thing, too, I'm jumping around a little bit, but I thought Jalen Milroe is getting a big contract with somebody. I just saw that some company that get a pile of money. Forgot where it was, but anyway, he's doing well. So it's an up and down deal for everybody. But the criticism that is levied that Barry has mentioned is pretty stinging. I had a lot of criticism through newspaper people. They criticized everybody, Coach Bryant, everybody, but it gets a little bit beyond that. Because of the social media opportunity to say what you want to say about whoever you want to say it is, and the other factor too, and we're kind of jumping around with, is that the things are put on the internet that are not true. They're incorrect, and for writers to write something that is totally has not been substantiated that it's happened is ridiculous, and we get that, and then. When people get that, then they intend to, if they're writers, to write that as well, not knowing, and so we get a lot of non-truths on around here. That's not good.
Yeah, I just I'm so ready for this election to be over. I am so tired of going on and reading about, and Trump's the worst as far as criticize. I mean, just, dude, she didn't do a good job. Everybody saw it. You ain't got to tell everybody. We saw it. But you doing this, turning people against you. It's just, God, it's terrible what we're teaching our kids. All right, we'll get to break here. Maybe we'll get on a better subject than all that. 2-minute truck there at 1330 Martin Road East. As we go pick up your boxes, your packing supplies, whatever you need to make this a smooth move. Whether it's local, out of town, out of state, or you just need stuff moved around the house, man. You're trying to get decorated for the holidays. Those guys will come out and do whatever you need. 205-247-5050. It is 2-minute truck movers who care.
Here's what's trending on the Tuscaloosa thread.
Good Friday morning. A vigil was held on Highway 78 last night in Walker County at the very spot the body of 40-year-old Jonathan O'Neill Foster was found on Monday. Initially, it was thought he was the victim of a hit and run. The Walker County Sheriff Nick Smith told media an autopsy produced another cause of death. That led to the arrest of a 17-year-old for first-degree murder. No motive has been released by investigators. Click TuscaloosaThread.com for more local news. Don Hartley, Town Square Media, Tuscaloosa.
Tide 100.9 traffic.
Tuscaloosa traffic now from the Townsend Nissan Traffic Center. Friday light for your travels this morning as we are heading into your prime time, but right now you're still looking good. And so we're traveling at posted speed on Lurleen Wallace on the northbound lanes to McFarland. Only brief delays at the intersection, McFarland Boulevard on the eastbound lanes. You'll tap on those brakes just a bit in between Main and Lurleen Wallace. With your Tuscaloosa traffic now, I'm Tammy Thomas.
For more from Tide 100.9,
lets it fly and clears it. Whoa!
Follow us on Twitter, Facebook, and SoundCloud.
Welcome back to Inside the Locker Room. Yellowwood pressure treated pine from Great Southern. Build a fence, the deck, the pergola. You want to use Yellowwood. Yeah, Jalen Milroe signed with Panini. It's a NIL trading card deal that he has there, and he's always wanted his own trade. But that's true NIL, Chase. I don't have a problem with that.
No, I don't. I was just
no, I'm saying, but you're making money because you're a popular football player and a great football player and a good person, and so people will probably buy your card. So that's a lot different than what we're seeing go on across the country. All right, get to the Yellowwood hotline.
I want before we get on, I want people to get on the internet sometime today and hear Nick Saban's speech on nothing, on the word nothing.
Yeah.
Especially players. Nothing. And he gets some. He has the writers that help him. So he's smart, not that smart. But I think you'd be interested in going to your internet sometime today and find the speech on nothing.
Yeah, I think that was one he did a while ago. It's good. Yeah. All right, get to the Yellowwood Hotline. Nick Saban's a great speaker. Get Tom in. Good morning, Tom.
Hey, Tom.
Morning, Barry. Morning, Coach. How are y'all this morning? Did I hear y'all say Coach Bennett resigned because of some sort of health?
No health. No health.
No health. It's not health. Okay, good.
Probably burnout of the way college athletics is running now. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's a lot of them.
It's like Mark Few, they asked him about it, and he said people don't understand what a big blow this is to college basketball. He is one of the best people in all of sports, and really in any walk of life. He's a great person, they say.
Yeah, well, I tell you what, you could tell that it was a lot of disappointment in the sport yesterday when that come out, and I hate it. And I don't know the guy. I don't know that much about him. Just watched his team play, and just in that right there is it's a blow. But anyway, and I think that like we talked yesterday, I think it's a lot of thoughts going through some good coaches' mind. Going wake up in the morning and go, you know what? Do I need to really? I don't need to do this anymore.
Yeah, he's 55.
I think that's legal.
He's 55, so he's done it one way for a long time, and he just and they don't have a problem with the players getting things. It's dealing with agents and all that stuff that you have to deal with now in recruiting. That's just not something that he's, from what I know, that he's really interested in doing. The NIL and pay for play and all that, players. That's probably like a lot of things, the tip of the iceberg. We don't know what's underneath there, and it's probably a lot of stuff. But anyway, I called in. Can I go back on a subject on the Alabama-Vanderbilt game? Sure.
I meant to bring something up and say to y'all that I thought was really interesting during the broadcast. Tom Hart and Cole Kublik did the game. And Tom is one of the favorite guests on the show, and he can find out things, or he does find out things and convey them without making either side mad about what he says. You ever notice that about him? He's a smooth operator. And he said something I thought was fantastically interesting about Coach Lee when he went in and sat down and for his interview on the day before the game. And he said that Coach Lee told them, he said, after last year, I told everybody that, something's got to change. He said, we just can't keep going the same pattern that Vandy's been on and expect to have any amount of success. That I've got to change every way I think about things, all the things that I thought worked in the yesteryear. He said, that's got to go out the door, and I got to embrace something new and change things. And so that led to him bringing in that group from New Mexico State, the offensive coordinator, quarterback, and 3 of the offensive linemen, bringing them in and setting Vandy on a different course than what they were on. And I thought, and that's just a little bit of the conversation that Tom spoke about, because I don't have a good memory. And but it would be interesting to get Tom on and let him tell about his experience with Coach Lee.
Well, I'll get him on. I just have worked him so much that I try to pass it around as much as I can, and I'll sure get him on, no doubt about it.
Yeah, he has a lot of interesting things to say post-game, too, when he was asked questions like this, Coach. Somebody asked him, said, when did you really feel like that game was going to be won by Vandy? And, he has some interesting stuff to say in his answers. I'm not going to sit up here and try to repeat it because I won't do it the justice it needs. But
I thought Cole did a good job on that show too.
Oh yeah, he did.
Cole's good.
You know,
He does a good job.
yeah, he's the first time
On his show, I was on his show
yesterday.
yesterday, and he does.
Yeah, I knew you had a relationship with him, but and then when I was watching him on that game, you know, to me that's the first time he's been an analyst, and then he would with Tom, and that boosts your quality right there.
Yeah. We'll do it. Thank you, Tom.
Thanks.
All right, and I wanted well, never mind. I'll call next week with another question.
All right, bud. Thank you. All right, back up to the Yellowwood hotline. Get Tim in. Good morning, Tim.
Hey, good morning, guys. It's good to be back in Gulf Shores after a month's absence.
Where you been?
Oh, man. Indiana, Kentucky, Georgia, you name it, anywhere but here. But
I got you.
I'm back in Gulf Shores, and it's absolutely wonderful. But y'all talking about something that, let me tell you where Boutwell Auditorium is. And your dad has been near Boutwell Auditorium a million times because Parker High School is right down the street from Boutwell Auditorium. It's on 8th Avenue North, which is now called Abraham Woods Boulevard. And it is not far from where the new Birmingham Jefferson Civic Center is.
Okay.
But I saw Alabama play basketball there, and I don't think your dad was even at Alabama when they played there, but Darrell Estes. Coach, you remember Darrell?
I was at Alabama. Darrell Estes is from Fayette, Alabama.
Yeah. Well, y'all played a basketball game. I think I
was coaching
4 teams there, but they used to play a lot of big-time basketball games there.
Yeah.
What does that place seat?
Oh, God. Coach, what do you think?
2,000?
Yeah, 2,000 or 3,000.
Yeah.
But they would play, you know, every now and then, like they'd play the city and county champions would play each other there in high school basketball. But it was a pretty famous place till they built the new big place. But they used to hold concerts there. And Barry, I saw Roy Orbison there in concert. One of the greatest concerts I ever saw. You'll never guess who opened for Roy Orbison at Boutwell Auditorium. And this is back in the early 60s. Queen.
Wow.
Queen was trying to get a foothold. Yeah, they were big in England, but they'd never been to the United States, so they were trying to build a name for themselves in the United States, and so they opened up for Roy Orbison. But this next thing I'm going to tell you about Boutwell, Barry, you ain't going to believe, and it never happened today. Birmingham used to be the Big Five in high school. There were only 5 high schools, you know, like Ramsey, Phillips, Hensley, West End, Woodlawn. That was all there was. They'd play football games on Friday nights, and then after the games, all the kids from around Birmingham would go to Boutwell Auditorium for Big Five dances on Friday nights. And it was sponsored by Coca-Cola, and they'd give away free Coca-Colas and all, but kids from all over Birmingham would gather in one place for a dance, a sock hop on Friday nights after football game. So I don't know, but you know, Boutwell Auditorium for me when I was growing up, man, that was a big time place.
Yeah, I don't know why I always thought they'd play that thing at Legacy Arena, but they're not playing that thing in Boutwell. So we'll see. Should be packing
all
out.
Right, well, hey, thinking about your mom and Coach, your wife, and hoping she's going to be good, and hope to see you guys soon.
Thank you, Tim.
Appreciate it.
All right, we'll get the break here. We'll get the Associate Commissioner for the SEC, Garth Glispin, in. You listen to Tide 100.9, 1230 AM WTBC. It's the home of Alabama sports.
Tide 100.9 traffic.
Tuscaloosa traffic now from the Townsend Nissan Traffic Center. Friday light for your travels this morning as we are heading into your prime time, but right now you're still looking good. And so we're traveling at posted speed on Lurleen Wallace on the northbound lanes to McFarland. Only brief delays at the intersection, McFarland Boulevard on the eastbound lanes. You'll tap on those brakes just a bit in between Maine and Lurleen Wallace. With your Tuscaloosa traffic now, I'm Tammy Thomas.
Tide 100.9 100.9 Tuscaloosa weather.
The long dry spell continues through next week. A sunny sky today, the high 71. Clear tonight, not as cold as recent nights, the low 45. Tomorrow and Sunday, the sky's sunny both days. Highs between 74 and 77. I'm James Spann on the ABC 3340 Weather Center on Tide 100.9. It's 39 degrees in Tuscaloosa.
You're listening to Inside the Locker Room with Wimp and Barry, only on Tide 100.9 and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.
Welcome back to Inside the Locker Room. Going to build the fence, the deck, the pergola. You want to use Yellowwood. Go to yellowwood.com to find the dealer that is closest to you. I get right up to the Yellowwood hotline. We're very fortunate to get the commissioner, the associate commissioner of the SEC, Garth Glispin on. Good morning, Garth. How are you, sir?
Hey, Garth.
Barry, Wimp, thanks for having me. I have to start by recognizing the very special moment at Media Day. Wimp, as you know, two of your former assistants, Rick Barnes and Porter Mosier, now head coaches in the SEC. And I thought it was an incredibly special moment when Coach Barnes recognized you from the podium at the start of his presentation at Media Day. I just want to make sure that your listeners are aware of that, because I think it speaks very favorably of you, the impact that you had as a coach and the impact that you continue to have on the game now with two of your assistants as head coaches in the SEC. So just wanted to start with that really special moment. I'm glad you were able to be there with us on Media Day, Coach. And it was special for me to see that moment between you and Coach Barnes. I'm actually with another one of your former assistants today. I'm going to spend the day with Porter. I'm in Oklahoma. I got here late last night, and I'm going to meet with him in a little bit, watch him practice, and go to the football game tomorrow.
You tell Porter when he was trying to get the Little Rock job, he called me every night. Now I hadn't heard from him in years.
Funny story, Garth. You could get on him, tell him that. So I left. I was coaching in Little Rock, and I left and went to East Carolina. Porter had just been let go at Texas A&M, and he was looking for a job. And so I told Dad, I said, you need to hire Porter Mosier. And now we go so many years ahead, and now he's the head coach at Oklahoma, and I'm doing a radio show with him every morning. So his paycheck's a lot more than mine. But and he looked like that Bruce Pearl dressed up for Halloween. He came dressed as Dad, didn't he, Garth? He had a plaid coat on.
Bruce, he had a plaid coat on, and we did something a little different this year with SEC Media Days, officially called Basketball Tip-Off. So Commissioner Sankey gave personalized introductions to all of the head coaches. So it had this kind of personal touch. And as Commissioner Sankey pointed out, Coach Pearl is actually now the longest tenured SEC head men's basketball coach in the conference, when you combine his tenure at Tennessee and now Alabama. And his larger-than-life personality has become an absolute fixture in the conference. Coach Pearl is one of those guys where he can, yell at you 1 minute and then you're hugging him the next minute. He's absolutely one of a kind. He's one of 6 head coaches in our conference with Final Four experience. One of the reasons that we, in my judgment, have a competitive advantage in our conference is the strength of our coaches and the strength of their personality. He's certainly right at the top of the list. It's been an honor for me to work with Coach Pearl, and he was in rare form at Media Day on Tuesday and dressed the part as well.
Yeah,
I want to thank you for what you said. I appreciate it, and I enjoy getting a chance to see several of my former buddies, and it was a real pleasure to be there, and I appreciate what you're doing for the conference basketball-wise, changing the Alabama-Auburn game to Saturdays and the things that you do behind the scenes that people don't realize. You've come in and quite honestly have made a huge impact on a lot of stuff, especially the gambling. But for basketball, I think you've taken a special interest in trying to get that a little bit better than it's been in the past. And I want to thank you, and I know everybody else because I've been on a football thing for several days and argument about different stuff, and I don't know if this is in your line of thought or not. As you know, and this is just part of Oregon ran somebody on the field in football to cause a penalty to run 4 seconds off the clock and so forth and so on. That's no big deal. But the problem that everybody is seeing now with some schools in the conference is that they're faking injuries, and they don't know how. Even though they have filmed that, you lay down, they point at them the fake. They don't seem to, and I don't either, seem to know how to stop that. Not stop it, but penalize that. And that may be way out of your realm, but you're the smartest guy there, and if you don't know it, then nobody will know it. What can be done, or is anything can be done to fake injuries?
I got this question at Basketball Media Day, and I was careful not to get outside my lane then. So I'm going to pivot just slightly.
Okay.
So that's not within my job description right now.
Yeah, sure.
But here's I want to pivot, and I want to answer your question with some experience that I do have. And you'll appreciate this as a basketball guy. So when I was at the NBA league office, we implemented what we call the player resting policy, because many star players at the NBA during my tenure there started increasingly to rest in regular season games. And it became a big problem for our TV partners because they paid the NBA a lot of money. And all of a sudden you'd have a Saturday night game on ABC and the big stars would be sitting on the bench in street clothes. So we implemented a policy at the NBA where teams in those cases generally would make the representation that the player is either injured or at a minimum he needs to rest for what they called in the NBA load management purposes. So essentially the team in those instances was making a representation that the player for health reasons could not play. Somewhat analogous to a team making a representation that a player in football is hurt at a particular moment in the game. What we did at the NBA was we implemented a policy where we would come in and conduct an independent review as a league office, and there were different factors that we could look at, and we would talk to the doctors. We would have our own doctors, and we would come to our own independent assessment of whether we felt that it was more likely than not that a player could play in a particular game. It's really tricky, and I'm speaking from my NBA experience now, it's really tricky to try to question a medical professional's medical judgment. So when you're coming in after the fact and a team and their doctors is making representations that a player was injured and either can't play in the game, in my NBA analogy, or in this particular case, there's a reason why the player was on the field at that particular moment. It is tricky to try to question medical judgment in those cases. But through rigorous independent review and some pre-established criteria, you can get to some common sense outcomes to address those types of situations. And we weren't perfect at the NBA, but we did get to a place where, if you look starting around 2017-18, although players continued to rest in regular season games, you didn't see players miss nearly as many games on national TV. And it was because of this independent review process and these new standards that we implemented that essentially, in some cases, allow the league office to overrule the medical judgments of NBA teams. Now, I can tell you culturally, pro sports and college sports are very different. So I don't know that it's realistic that type of a system could be implemented in college sports.
Yeah, it'd be hard.
I think it's fair to say that college sports is a more decentralized model. College student athletes also benefit from a greater scope of health-related privacies. So in pro sports, through the collective bargaining agreements, pro athletes waive the majority of their health privacy rights. That is not the case in college athletics. College student athletes still retain most of their medical privacy rights. So there's a lot of reasons why this is a more tricky issue in college sports, but it is something that I've thought about given my involvement in those independent reviews at the NBA league office.
Okay, well it's complicated, and maybe you shouldn't.
Yeah, my fear would be a guy, if you penalize somebody who gets injured, a guy when he really is injured, probably not going to go down and play through it and maybe hurt himself more. So that's a slippery slope to get on.
It really is. It's very hard. And we've had some teams in the league who have felt like they have stopped momentum by the offense by faking the injury. They've slowed down the offensive team to some degree.
Yeah.
About faking. That's been really big, much bigger than we realized. All we do is see SEC football, but it's everything they're trying to do is to affect the game so that you can't play fast against us.
Yeah, Garth, I want to ask you this. I love college football. But, around here, it's almost like basketball season doesn't really ever start till football's over. And one of my fears is now with this playoff, the national championship game is not until January the 20th. And so basketball will be not deep, but they'll already be, moving pretty good in the conference slate there. What can we do for SEC basketball to make sure it gets the attention it deserves while football is still going on? I think that's a difficult deal to do if these teams are still playing.
Barry, I feel like you're reading my mind because it's a great question. The different format in this year's playoff, so the playoff starts December 20th, it ends January 20th. That's going to take up more mind share in the college sports landscape and overall sports calendar. Of course, the NFL has continued to expand in terms of the number of regular season games, days of the week, windows in which they play. So college basketball, its traditional footprint, the conference season, January, February, and then March into the tournament, that time of the year is increasingly being encroached by football, which, as you know, is just a huge ratings draw on TV.
Sure.
So one of the things that I've tried to work on, not only at the SEC, but now as a member of the NCAA Men's Basketball Oversight Committee, is recalibrating the schedule. And how can we recalibrate the schedule and find these strategic windows so we're not trying to compete with football? Because you're not going to compete with, head on against the NFL playoffs, and you're not going to compete head on with college football playoff semifinal or national championship game. But how can you find new strategic windows, recalibrate the schedule so that SEC fans and frankly, college sports fans throughout the country begin to think about college basketball earlier in the season than they might otherwise? So what we're trying to do in the SEC, right now, you're going to see us start conference season with a bang. Opening Saturday in conference play, January 4th, you'll see some incredible matchups. Arkansas versus Tennessee, so you see two Hall of Famers there, and Coach Barnes and Coach Calipari. Texas A&M versus Texas play and a restoration of that classic rivalry. Kentucky, Florida. So there's some great matchups to start. We're trying, again, to almost force fans to begin thinking about basketball starting that first Saturday. Going forward, I think there's even more that we could do to recalibrate the schedule, maybe play on more days of the week. Right now, and during conference play, we're only playing 3 days of the week, Tuesday, Wednesday, or Saturday. So you could maybe look at playing on additional days of the week to try to find strategic windows. And I think there's other ways that maybe we can create some matchups earlier in the season that capture the attention of sports fans. I want to compliment both Alabama and Auburn. You look at their non-conference schedules this year, they are certainly doing their part to try to get folks to talk about basketball earlier in the season. You'd be hard-pressed to find two schools in the country that play a tougher non-conference schedule than Alabama and Auburn. So credit to both Coach Oates and Coach Pearl. And I think part of that is they realize that, in a part of the country that loves football, you have to be intentional about playing games that people care about if you want to break through while football is still being played.
Well, Barry has criticized me. I think I'm a schedule genius. I've scheduled all my, and I study schedules. And you're the genius, not me. But I'm making light of myself.
You're calling yourself a genius?
Well, I was pretty good. I was pretty good. I wasn't a great coach, but we had great teams, and we did a good job with the schedule. We had some teams we could beat, and some teams that we had a hard time beating. But I invariably don't be on when my assistant coaches would come in to see me, and I would say, "Ooh, we can't play that team because one time they had Larry Bird on the team. We don't want to do that." They had Larry Bird on it 4 or 5 years ago or something like that. They would make fun of me, and they still do to this time. But I think scheduling, you've done a great job with it.
Well, I can tell from our conversations, you really are gifted at scheduling. Unfortunately, so much of scheduling in college basketball in the current environment is driven by analytics.
Yeah.
And teams are constantly trying to optimize their net ranking in the way that they schedule non-conference games.
Yeah.
And so that has taken some of the human element out of it. Now, that's the same reason why I think you see Alabama and Auburn play such tough non-conference schedules. So there are some positive ramifications, but the analytics are increasingly driving the way that coaches approach scheduling, and there are some unintended consequences to that as well. I bet if you talk to Andy Kennedy and Bucky at UAB and Samford, respectively, they would tell you that the analytics make it really difficult for them to schedule games against, power conference opponents.
Well, the analytics for me was when I was coaching, the big number was 20 wins. They didn't make it with the analytics, but in the 20 win, when you go to a place to try to get your team in the NCAA, you study what's best to get your team there. And when I was coaching, it was 20 wins. So that's the only point I wanted to make.
Well, you're right, and the metrics have changed a little bit, and I think that's an important point for college sports fans in both football and basketball, because this is the first year that we have a different postseason format for football, and fans are wondering, coaches are wondering, rightfully so, how many losses can an SEC team absorb but still find their way into the playoff at the end of the season? We don't know the answer to that.
No,
in recent years, we've seen that the mark has been moved a little bit in college basketball, where now you can go 8-10 in conference play, but if your scheduling metrics are favorable, still make the NCAA tournament. We've had 3 SEC teams in the last 2 seasons make the tournament with 8-10 conference records. The old metrics of you had to win 20 games, you had to be 500 or better in conference play, those were the rules of thumb when you guys coached together, Wimp and Barry. It's become a little more nuanced now, and that's just a reflection, like I said, on the net ranking and the committee being driven more by quantitative metrics than some of those kind of classic rules of thumb that ruled the day when you were coaching.
Well, you're so good. Barry and I certainly need to mention football to you, or our listeners get all hacked.
Well, I want to ask you one more thing about scheduling.
Okay.
As far as, people, when Dad and I looked at that football, you can do this in basketball as well. We looked at Texas's football schedule and said, wow, they got a break this year. These teams, they're up and down. You don't know when you set the schedule who's good and who's what. How difficult is that? And I'm sure basketball will look at it this year and they'll say, man, they had a very difficult schedule, which is probably good because it gives you more opportunities to get quality wins. I don't think the 20-win deal is such a big deal now. That's why Nate Oates them do such a good job. The non-conference teams that they play, even not the Power Four, whatever it's called now, the other teams are pretty much the top teams in their conference, so they don't get hit by playing teams that are very low in the RPI. But is there any way to look at that? I guess you recalibrate it every 2 years maybe to where you try to make the schedules as balanced as possible. That's hard to do when you have a 16-team league, isn't it, Garth?
Well, you're right, Barry. So as conferences have gotten larger, one of the unintended consequences of larger conferences is that it's impossible in a sport like football, for example, where you're playing 12 regular season games. It is literally a mathematical impossibility to create an equal schedule.
Yeah.
The SEC, same with the Big Ten, went away from divisions with the thinking that in order to really have a cohesive conference, you wanted schools to play against one another within a period of time rather than have divisions, which could result in one team from the East not playing a team from the West for a lengthy period of time. So, but even with divisions, you're not going to have a truly equal schedule. So with larger conferences, it is in most cases a mathematical impossibility to have a truly equal schedule. So when that's your baseline, then you have to accept that from a competitive standpoint, there is some randomness to the schedule in terms of who plays who, and that results in competitive inequities that are just frankly a part of the system as it currently stands. And I think that in football, that's a problem that won't go away, because for all the change in college football, you're not going to be playing 15 or 16 regular season games anytime soon, right? So that everybody can play everybody once.
Yeah.
The same is true in basketball. We have a 16-team league. We play 18 games. We want to preserve traditional rivalries with our two-play opponents. For example, Auburn and Alabama are going to play each other every year, home and away. They're really good programs. So that creates a little bit of a tougher schedule for them than certain schools that may not have such a strong two-play opponent in that regard. So we have to be honest about the fact that as conferences have gotten larger, there's some randomness to the schedule and some competitive inequities. And I'll just speak from a basketball standpoint because I do create the basketball schedule. I talk to our schools. Some of them have, some frustrations. You gave us a tough stretch in the schedule here. I say, show me how to do it better, right? When in basketball, when you have 9 teams in the top 25 of the preseason poll, 9 teams coming off of the NCAA tournament, 10 or 11 teams projected to get into the tournament this year. How do you want me to arrange them, right? Yeah. And they get it, right? So I'm not saying that it's adversarial. They get it. But, just to illustrate the point, our conference has become so strong, it's impossible to arrange the schedule in such a way that it's equal. And it's also, from a competitive standpoint, and it's also impossible to arrange the schedule in such a way that teams have breaks throughout the season. So you're going to be playing tough games in football and basketball, one after the other. In basketball, there are some tough stretches. We do the best we can to mitigate those issues analytically. We try not to have too many games against the top-tier opponent in a row. Try not to have too many games against a bottom-tier opponent in a row, because if you do that, you're going to have to pay the piper at some other point in the season with a really tough stretch. So scheduling is inherently imperfect, and that's something that is just a feature of the system, not a bug. And so we try to mitigate issues the best we can analytically. But when you have such a strong conference and schools, they fluctuate from one year to the next. Last year, you look at South Carolina, people might have on their schedule at the start of the season looked at that, okay, that's a game we should win. Well, it turns out South Carolina finished tied for second in the conference, makes the tournament. And all that just speaks to the incredible strength of our conference. It's like, I think the best comparison is an NFL schedule. There are no breaks. There are no breaks in the SEC, just like there are no breaks in an NFL schedule.
Yep.
Has the gambling part of it affected you as far as a lot of hard work trying to do whatever's best, because everybody's doing that now and it's gone to the forefront? Just a quick comment on that before we close.
Well, I don't want to be known as the gambling guy. Hopefully I'm known as the guy who's tried to help protect student athletes
That's what
and
it was
the
a bad
integrity
news,
of competition
I didn't know.
against the risks associated with gambling. And of course, we've done that with our student athlete availability reporting policy. Barry, you guys were kind enough to let me talk about that. You were kind of the first to hear about that policy. We're in the middle of it with football season, and I'm incredibly proud of the partnership from our schools. We are far ahead of schedule in terms of operationalizing that policy. The collaboration from our schools has been incredible. They've played it really straight. There have been a number of instances. You think of some high-profile starting quarterbacks in the SEC this year that have dealt with injuries, been out for a few games, and in each instance, our schools have just played it straight. I'm incredibly thankful, and I think that we're leading the way in college athletics with a robust policy that is, we're doing the best we can to try to guard against the risks associated with sports betting by creating transparency around information that we know otherwise would have a lot of value in the sports betting community.
Well, Barry and I sure appreciate you being on. You've given us a first on a lot of things that happened, and I appreciate you more than you'll ever know, and hopefully we can get you back on, and you've done a terrific job with the scheduling and so forth. I'm glad you weren't commissioner when I was coaching. So,
well, it's associate commissioner. Let's be clear on that. There's only one commissioner.
Well, I know that. I understand. Really you're not taking anybody. Barry and I understand that you're not trying to take anybody's place. We got all that, but you did a great job. Thank you.
Well, hey, you're always too kind to me, overly kind to me, and that's why I had to start by recognizing a special moment at Media Day with you and Coach Barnes. So, I can return the favor with all this flattery if you want to play that game.
Yeah, and tell Porter Mosier lunch is on him that we said it if y'all go to lunch.
I agree. He's done quite well.
Yeah, there you go. Thank you, Garth.
Thank you, Barry. Appreciate you.
Thank you. All right, we'll take this break. Open the phone lines 205-342-9904. You listen to Tide 100.9, 1230 AM WTBC. It's the home of Alabama sports.
Tide 100.9 traffic.
Tuscaloosa traffic now from the Townsend Nissan Traffic Center. It is status quo for your Tuscaloosa freeways and side streets. We're moving with a purpose on this TGIF. Looking good. Now, we travel here on Skyland Boulevard nice and smoothly. I don't see any heavy delays, and that is in between 2059 and 359. Also, Lurleen Wallace is behaving herself on the northbound hookup to McFarland Boulevard. You are A-OK with your Tuscaloosa traffic now. Tammy Thomas.
WTBC Tuscaloosa and W265CG Tuscaloosa, a Town Square media station. Tide 100.9 and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.
From the Fox Sports Studios in Los Angeles, here's Eddie Garcia.
In postseason baseball, Game 3 of the American League Championship Series saw the Guardians stun the Yankees with a 7-5 win in 10 innings. New York's Aaron Judge and Giancarlo Stanton hit back-to-back homers in a 3-run 8th inning to go up 2 runs, but Cleveland came back with a pinch-hit 2-run homer from Jhonkensy Noel in the 9th inning with 2 out to tie it up, and then it was David Fry with a 2-run walk-off homer in the 10th to win it for Cleveland. New York still leads the series 2-1. Game 4 of the National League Championship Series saw the Dodgers roll over the Mets with a 10-2 win in New York. LA's Mookie Betts had 4 hits, a home run, drove in 4, while Shohei Ohtani hit a home run and scored 4 runs. LA leads that series 3-1. Week 7 in the NFL got underway with Thursday Night Football in New Orleans. The Broncos rolled over the Saints 33-10. Denver running back Devontae Williams had 2 rushing scores, while the Broncos defense recorded 6 sacks, forced 2 fumbles, returning 1 for a touchdown. Denver is 4-3 on the season.
Inside the locker room with former Crimson Tide basketball coach Wimp Sanderson and his son, former SEC and ACC assistant basketball coach Barry Sanderson. It's time to take you inside the locker room on your home for Alabama sports. Tide 100.9 and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.
Welcome back to the second hour of Inside the Locker Room. I think Andrew Kniffer, he's my Allstate insurance agent. Let him become yours. Out at 4705 McFarland Boulevard, Suite 3 over in Northport. You'll be in good hands with Allstate. If you're looking for home life auto, this is your guy. 205-722-9201. When you get him on the phone today, tell him that Wimp and Barry sent you. I get to the Andrew Kniffer Allstate Insurance Hotline. Get Philip in. Good morning, Philip.
Good morning, gentlemen. Hope y'all doing good today. It was a great interview with Garth. Great interview.
Thank you. Smart
Yes.
guy. Smart guy.
He's great. He's great, and it's a great contact that y'all have. We look forward to listening to him. But to me, Barry, if a guy flops, if your helmet comes off and you have to sit out a play, well, if you just fall out, there's a little tent you have to go to. That's manned by some sort of a staff member, and you can't come back in the game until you sit for 5 plays. That's the only thing. That's what they've got to do.
Okay, so, and I'm not arguing. I'm not even saying I don't agree. I'm not sure. So if I were playing, and it was a very important part of the game, and I heard my knee pop or I heard something happen, but you know what? I said, man, if I go down here, I'm gonna have to go out for 5 plays. I'm gonna play hurt. I'm not going down because they're going to make me sit out 5 plays. So a kid who's at some point, they got to get the head coaches in the room and say, guys, we got to have some character about us here. We can't do these things because it's so hard to determine whether a guy really is hurt. Because when a guy really is hurt now and he tries to play through it and injures himself more, do you open yourself up to a lawsuit in a situation like that? So I hear what you're saying. Hey, go out for the whole series. But these kids are competitive, man. They don't want to go sit out 5 plays. The ones that are really hurt. So that would be my only worry about a rule like that.
Well, we've got neither one of you keep up with it quite. I have to because of these other shows, but we've got one team in the league who is overdoing it with this. It's become a real problem.
Yeah. Well, I'd like to do something. I believe I was at the South Florida game, and South Florida started flopping around and extended the length of that game by at least 45 minutes.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know how they fix it. Make you use a timeout if a guy, but if you don't have any timeouts left, make you sit out, like you said, the entire series if you go down. There's going to be some legitimate injuries, and I guess Dad's talking about Lane Kiffin's one that's had guys just go down.
Well, there are two.
Go ahead.
There are two sports where it's a terrific problem, and it's in college football and college football and women and men's professional tennis. It's a huge problem in tennis, but and tennis has got to get it straight. I'm a big tennis fan, and tennis has really got to work on that. But anyway, the big reason I called is Florida's 7'9" center.
Yeah.
That guy can play. And I think he's going to really be a problem for teams this year. I've watched him a little bit on social media, and I've seen some televised footage of him. And I'm no basketball coach. The next game I coach will be my first, but I sure have watched a long time. And this kid moves very gracefully. He's not awkward. He's a great passer, and he can shoot the crap out of the ball.
Well, they'll go inside. That'll be one team that'll go inside. So the biggest factor is to get him down there and get him set. If he can run is another real big factor because he can score inside. But he's got to have the ability to not run fast, but run decently, and then they can post him up.
Well, they'll take his guy and bring him out on the floor and ball screen. Now, he's no way he's staying in front of a guard. And so they'll do some things to exploit his size as well. They're on, you pull him out of the lane, and if he doesn't come, then there's no help off ball screens. This and another. I hadn't seen the kid play. I'm looking at he's 7'9". Listed 7'9", 305 pounds. So I would imagine he does not move great. Maybe he can. It's going to be interesting to see how he's from Canada. It was IMG Academy. But 7'9", if he's coordinated, if you get him down there, I don't know how you just throw it up there. The guy can go up. I mean, you can't go up there with him. I guess some guys can really jump. But they'll run him. and they'll make him defend out on the floor on the other end. And so I think he'll get exploited a little bit on that end. We'll see how it works. It'd be interesting to see how they use him, though, for sure.
It would be. And I tell you, Barry, what are you hearing about the Battle game tonight? I'm pretty excited about that. The arena looks good from what I can tell, and some of the pictures that people have posted on social media, and it's going to be interesting. Are you going to get a chance to go, Barry?
No, I'm going to try to watch it. It said it's on YouTube TV, so I've got YouTube on my TV there in the den. So I'm trying to see if I can watch it. But it'll be interesting to see how who starts, the rotation. That's what he's got to. Coach Oates has got to kind of figure out. You got so many guys. He does have the transfer from South Florida is out, and it sounds like maybe Aiden Sherrill is out for this game in Wrightsville. So that puts him down at 10 guys. So that shouldn't be too hard to play 10 guys there. But the rotation and who starts and all those things, because they're pretty much two or three deep at every position, Philip. So kind of seeing how they utilize that, what combinations. I mean, do you play the kid from Rutgers, Dad, and do you play Jared Stevenson and the kid from what's the big kid, Nelson? Do you play all them together? I mean, that's like 6'9", 6'11", 7 foot right there that you can all play
defensively, you do. If you've got matchups that are problems defensively, you probably don't.
Yeah, so you got a bunch of big guys there. They can move too. Those three guys can all move. So there's a lot of options over there. Then you got Sears, and you got, of course, Hollowell the transfer, and then Coach has been very high on the kid from Murphy down in Mobile that had moved to the prep school that had committed to Kansas that decommitted and came. He's been very high on him, Phelan. So we'll see how he plays tonight. So,
Absolutely. Yeah, I think Joe Corona may be going.
Oh, I'm sure Joe Corona's going. So I got to follow his Twitter. But Joe has. You think Tom has Alabama glasses on? Joe has the most. I mean, oh my gosh, Alabama does no wrong in Joe's eyes.
I tell you what, he's a great basketball fan, isn't he?
Yeah,
he is a great basketball.
One of my great managers.
Joe was one of Dad's managers. You know that, didn't you?
Yes, sure did. Yeah. Sure did. Yeah. Well, tell Miss Annette I asked about it, and I hope she's.
I appreciate it. She's struggling right now, and.
No, I know it. I got that. I heard. Yeah, I know, and just please tell her I asked about it. It might make her feel good.
Yeah, thank you, Philip. They had messaged me yesterday wanting to, which I think she has on there, to put the app for our radio show, and they want her trying to have her normal routine and listen to the show. So, Mom, if you're listening, we love you, and get well. All right, we'll take the break here. We'll see if old Coach Sonny Smith's going to join us. We never know what Coach Smith may be doing. You listen to Tide 100.9. It's the home of Alabama sports.
Tide 100.9 traffic.
Tuscaloosa traffic now from the Townsend Nissan Traffic Center, moving right along. I tell you what, this is a nice Friday commute to just move about on the freeways freely. Now, we do have some slow and go traffic on McFarland Boulevard. Yeah, the rush to work is beeping up a bit, or volumizing a bit, but nothing.
Visit us now and save big and discover why so many are switching to BMW. BMW of Tuscaloosa. Take your dreams for a drive.
From the University of Alabama, this is Crimson Tide Today. Its daily update on Bama sports, and it's brought to you by Guthrie's. America's original chicken finger restaurant is now an official partner of the Alabama Crimson Tide. For franchise information, visit Guthrie'sChicken.com. Hello again, everybody. I'm Roger Hoover. On yesterday's edition of Crimson Drive, driven by NASCAR, we were joined by CTSN sideline reporter Damian Square.
Man, I love it, man. I love, to be around it. I've been away from it so long, man, pursuing my own professional career. And then, when I got out of the ball, spending time with my son and kind of, implementing myself in his life and, help him reach some of his personal goals, man. But to get the opportunity to come and, hang around the guys and talk ball with you guys and just be so close to the Tide, something that's so dear to my heart, man. It's really uplifting, and I can see other things in my life making changes because of that good energy that I'm bringing in my life, man.
I'll have more in a moment.
Founded in Haleyville, Alabama, Guthrie's Golden Fried Chicken Fingers has been family-owned and operated since 1965. Like their famous signature dipping sauce, Guthrie's has been imitated but never duplicated. Using the family's original Southern fried chicken recipe, Guthrie's is still serving the best chicken fingers in the world, just like you like them, fresh, hot, and fast. When you want the best, go to Guthrie's, America's original chicken finger restaurant, and now an official partner of the Alabama Crimson Tide. For franchise information, visit Guthrie'sChicken.com.
We've got you covered for Alabama football against Tennessee on Saturday. Our radio coverage across the network will begin at 11:30 a.m., leading up to kickoff at 2:30 p.m. Central. Listen on our full radio network, the Varsity Network app, as well as watch the live booth cam presented by Yay Alabama on all CTSN social media platforms. Crimson Tide Today is brought to you by Guthrie's. Crimson Tide Today is a production of the Crimson Tide Sports Network from Learfield.
Two-time state champion and two-time NIT champion Barry Sanderson breaks down the latest in sports on Inside the Locker Room on Tide 100.9.
Welcome back to the Inside Locker Room. Chase, we got to get Sonny Smith a walk-up song. That ain't going to cut it. We got to get him a walk-up song. We'll find out what his favorite song is when we get him on, and that will be his walk-up music. Tuscaloosa Toyota, go to TuscaloosaToyota.com, guys. I'm looking at the website right now, and that Tundra, 1.99% APR, for 36 months plus a $2,000 loyalty cash. They got great deals. They got a special going on right now. Buy 3 tires, any tire, and get the 4th tire for $1. If you buy 3, Chase, I'll buy you that 4th tire for the $1 there. So that's a great deal you want to take advantage of. If you want to rent a Toyota, you can do it right there at the website. You want to schedule a service, order a part, do it right there at the website, or swing by Skyland Boulevard and tell them that Wimp and Barry sent you. All right, we get to the Yellowwood hotline here. He was the NABC District 6 Coach of the Year, Ohio Valley Coach of the Year, 2-time SEC Coach of the Year, CAA Coach of the Year, the Alabama Sports Hall of Fame, Coach Sonny Smith. Coach, what is your favorite song?
Ain't that good?
What is your favorite song?
Hey, Barry, Wimp thinks my favorite song is Born to Lose. Born to Lose. he thinks my favorite song is Born to Lose.
What is your favorite song? What is your favorite song?
Oh, I had so many. It'd be hard for me to. But I would say anything by the Osborne Brothers early life, or anything by Vern Gosden, former Alabama guy that Chiseled in Stone was one of his songs, and if somebody always asks me, I said, well, my favorite song is Chiseled in Stone by Vern Gosden.
There you go. Find that, Chase.
I
can't wait to hear that.
We're going to take him out on that song today.
Chiseled. Hey, I'm going to tell you now, it was like a #1 hit by Vern Gosden, who's an Alabama native, by the way.
Yeah. Chase is looking over there. He's trying to find it.
He might find a hard time finding Chiseled in Stone.
No kidding.
It's so old. It's so old. It's not even on the internet.
No, it's not.
Well, wait a minute now. If you ever heard Chiseled in Stone one, he'll put a brace on your back.
Well,
I'm tired of bragging on you.
Are you?
Yeah.
You didn't brag. I did.
Yeah, okay, you bragged on him. I didn't agree, but that's fine.
Well, he was all those things.
It was great. Tell our listeners what happened several days ago in the huge wreck that they had on I think it's at Talladega, where it was horrible. Can you describe that to our listeners? Do you remember that?
Well, I remember the wreck, but it was not a terrible wreck. They always wreck, and they always wreck. Nothing's terrible unless it takes out 10 or 12 cars and stops the race for a period of time.
Oh, I thought
wrecking is just a part of NASCAR, and the reason being they're running unbelievable speeds. They may be the greatest drivers in the world, but they run within inches of one another. And so you're going to have a lot of wrecks, and in no way it has anything to do with bad drivers. Sometimes it has to do with tires going down while they're doing 150 miles an hour or better. And when you get that type of thing, sometimes you have some very difficult time hanging on to the steering wheel. So wrecks are going to occur in NASCAR because of the increased speeds, and they're getting faster. They're never going to get slower.
It was just a big deal, unusual accident with Dale Earnhardt lost his life, wasn't it?
Well, I knew him, and I got to be on his pit crew one time, and he'd always been my favorite driver, and we'd been somewhat successful in coaching, and he liked that part of the thing, and he grew up in a lot same kind of circumstances all of us did, kind of poor in the country, and fought his way through all of that, and became an unbelievable driver. He also become a person who could really handle banquets and speeches and things like that. And they thought when he started driving that he would never be able to do that, but he was able to do it. And he was successful in marriage. He was successful in everything that he did. It was just a shame when they lost him, one of the greatest drivers that's ever been in NASCAR.
Auburn has had a week off in football. They're traveling to Missouri. Missouri's a 4-point favorite there at Auburn. A lot of people think Auburn may go win this game. They've had a week to kind of get ready. What are your thoughts about where Auburn football is right now, Coach?
They were talking about Auburn yesterday with a group of people that support the program, and they keep saying that they feel like Auburn's running under the radar, that they're better than people think that they are, and they're fully capable of pulling what other people might look on as an upset, and that we're a better team than we're playing, that type of thing. That's the kind of talks going on around here. It's not like, well, we're a terrible team. We just can't do anything, that type of attitude. You just don't see that. And I think from a standpoint of where the fans are with this crew is higher than most people would think. I think they still believe that they're a team that can come on and win some matches.
Yeah, that.
Basketball wise, I had a couple of guys say they had watched Auburn practice, and I just
yes,
I
have too, yeah,
and they felt like maybe they weren't going to be, and I'm not trying to say anything, and just talking, maybe not quite as good as people think they're going to be. They were very,
yeah. Well, if you had gone to practice in the last few weeks, pardon my voice, if you've gone the last few weeks, they have had a couple of pieces that they got to have to play hurt.
Yeah, okay.
And one of them was sick and one was hurt. And when they got them all together, they're fully capable of being as much as people say they are. But without, they're a team that couldn't lose a very good player and still be the same team.
Sure.
A collective unit, I think they're capable of doing what people are saying. Some of the pieces gone, I think not. But they're playing without a couple of people now, because of illness and one because of an injury, and they all will be back by the time they start playing.
Are y'all not paying Bruce Pearl any money down there, Coach?
Well, I make my payments every month. I hope he's getting my part of it.
They had SEC Media Day. It looked like he had on a jacket he got at a thrift store or something. He had on a plaid coat. He had a plaid coat on up there. He said he told Nate Oates he tried to dress as Alabama as he could. I thought he could.
He said that, or somebody else?
No, he said that to Nate. Nate was looking at his coat because Nate likes the plaid as well. But I thought he was making a lot of money. I didn't know he had to get his clothes out of a thrift store down there in Auburn. So.
I'm gonna tell you, I'm gonna go to that thrift store. He does if he's getting clothes. So everybody wants to wear what Bruce Pearl wears. So what was it? Tell me what it is, so I go get me one.
It kind of was a blue plaid. It was a nice looking plaid coat he had on there. So
oh yeah,
yeah, he was.
I tell you what. I don't think dress is the first, second thing on his mind. I think winning games is right there at the top of it. He has got a good team. If he can keep them together and take injuries out of it and illness out of it, I think he's going to be good. I think it's all going to come down to, can they shoot as well as people think they can? But from a part of being athletic, a part of being good ball handlers, player movements, I think he's going to be a really good ball club. But he can't. Any of those pieces can go out and make him not quite as good as before, because he's got a team put together that can shoot as well as do all the other things you have to do to win games.
Alabama takes on things have changed a lot in college basketball. Now they can play 2 scrimmages against quality opponents. Alabama's going to play Wake Forest tonight in Birmingham, and then in about 10 days they're going to go up to Huntsville and play Memphis. So I think these are probably much better games to kind of find out where your team is. Sometimes you play these smaller schools or these exhibition teams from overseas. You don't really get a good look. But this should be good for Alabama to be able to play Wake and Memphis and kind of find out where they are with their team here before the real season starts.
I think most of the coaches in the SEC, Wimp join in, he would know more about this, but I think they've all decided that they need to schedule tougher out of league.
Yeah.
And Auburn has done the same thing. They schedule tough out of league, and I never was kind of for that type of thing. But I think now that to keep that ranking and get the publicity that you need, everybody thinks they got to schedule tougher early. And getting into NCAA, that's another reason.
Yep.
Are you playing? What are you doing these days to stay? Are you playing tennis? If you are, you playing at the net? What are you doing?
I play tennis once a week. Jan has limited my playing time a little bit. Take care of my wife, who's been an ill individual, as we all know, but she's doing better. But I took away a little bit of my tennis so I could take care of the homebody.
Well,
so give us a lesson on how to play the net. Coach.
I'll tell you what, I bet the people that play tennis are glad you.
They don't hit it near you. Do they hit it near you? It's over, right?
Barry. They hit it
Barry,
right at
let me tell you what they do.
Right at him.
Will you tell him to hush? Barry.
Yeah.
Barry. They hit it to me on purpose because they know I can't play.
Come on, Coach.
I hit it to my forehand because they know that's my best shot.
And
it's
Barry,
going to come back easy.
If he's playing back, Barry always hollers long.
Long.
Yeah. Always.
My favorite shot's a drop shot. I drop the ball right after they hit it to me.
You lift that little finger up and say out, that little pointer finger?
Oh, yeah. I lift the finger up every once in a while because of the way they treat me.
Would you cheat, Coach? Would you ever cheat?
Would I cheat? Would I cheat? Would I play? Would I play?
Yeah.
But the thing about it, I can blame it on sight now.
Yeah, you couldn't see. They looked out to you.
Yeah, I can't see. I'm 89 years old. How'd you expect me to see that ball? Looked out to me.
Yeah. You didn't cheat in recruiting, did you? Dad says you cheated in recruiting.
No, I never. You know, Barry, as I look back.
Here we go.
As you look back.
As I look back.
Yeah.
I wish I had. You know, it was such an illegal time at the time that I was in the league. And my folks wanted me to be honest and upfront, and I went along with my people. But I believe I'd leave my people behind and join in the parade like it was when I back over there.
Alabama.
I'll tell you
ain't
something,
cheating, you ain't winning. That's the way it was.
You ain't trying. That's what they say.
That's exactly right.
I'm going to tell you something. It's unbelievable. This is a true story. I mean, I'm bragging on him now for the first time.
Oh Lord! Hold on, Chase, get the record button.
Yeah, I'm trying.
Yeah, hit the button.
I'm trying to hire an assistant coach. I'm actually at a place looking at a prospect. I don't know why, and I called Sonny about something, and we didn't. I was on payphone. And I talked to him about this guy that I thought about hiring. And he said to me, Wimp, I wouldn't hire him. And I said, are you telling me the truth? He said, I wouldn't hire him. And so I didn't listen. And I hired him. and it's the worst thing I ever did.
I thought you were going to say you didn't hire him, and Coach Smith hired him the next week.
Hey, Barry, even though he didn't know it, I'm still the best friend he ever had.
Yeah, he said when he told me that, and I thought, and I could tell he was telling me, and wasn't telling me in jest. He was telling me the truth, and I thought, well, maybe he's whatever. I didn't know what I thought, but it's been a long time. But I hired him as the worst mistake I ever made.
Well, now, Coach, Alabama is going up to Knoxville, Tennessee. Now, you're from Tennessee.
Yes, I am.
If the tradition is if Alabama wins, they smoke a cigar. All right, that's the tradition. So everybody's got their cigars. If you hadn't, go get your cigar. Will they drink any Jack Daniels up there in Knoxville, Tennessee this weekend, you think?
Not before the game, maybe a little bit after. But
not before the game.
Well,
you asked me, and
I always tell the truth on your show.
Did he sell
Does
it?
your family still sell up there?
Oh, sell. If my family was alive, they'd be selling. My dad's knocking on the ground trying to get up, sell another gallon.
They hid the whiskey in the bed, Sonny.
Barry, that's the truth. They used to raid our house, and everybody thought the world of my mother. Her name is Ermy. And we live right on top of this hill. That's my mother's name. Don't knock that one.
Ermy. How do you spell Ermy?
Well, her name is Irma, but up in the mountains, that's Ermy.
How do you spell that? Is that an I or E?
IRMA. Irma. But we called her Ermy.
Right.
Ermy would they'd raid our house, Barry, and my mother'd run, jump to bed with her. But the liquor that we had in the house, we'd bury most of it, but we kept enough to sell when they come into the house.
Oh.
So she jumped to bed, and we'd put the liquor in the bed with her, and they'd search the whole house, and they'd go over and pat my mother on the head and say, Ermy, we hate to bother you. We know you're sick, but we're going to get old Greg one of these days. And they'd go out the door, and we'd throw the cover back, get right back in the liquor business.
Did you hide it on the pillows, or did you hide it on the cover?
Under the cover. Under the cover.
How many bottles would you have under there, Coach?
3 gallon.
3 gallon.
Yeah, well, we half-gallon jars, so we'd have on each side, or we put 3 jars. three jars.
Did y'all have any moonshine up there?
Moonshine, that's what it was. It's all it was made out. My grandfather would make it out in the woods, and we'd sell it.
There you go.
They're turning this station off by the thousands right now in this interview.
All right.
You've already irritated enough of them. Start the show.
Yeah. Well, Coach, we appreciate you being on. Go play some tennis. Go play some tennis. They hit it to you.
I love being on this show because I got so many good friends.
If they hit it to you at the net, that's a point for coaches.
When they hit it to me at the net, they know they got the point.
Turn it up. Do you know this song, Coach?
Well, no.
Is that not the song?
Oh, yes.
Turn it up, Chase.
That's called Vern Gosden, and that's called one of the greatest singers I've ever known in country music. And he's from Alabama, by the way.
I like that.
That's Vern Gosden.
That's good stuff.
At his best.
That's good stuff there, boy.
That is good. That's good. Yeah. You take us out on.
Well, you listen to Vern Gosden a little bit, and you'll be hearing the best music that could be played in country.
That's right.
The thing about Vern, he's from Alabama, guys. I know you got to go, but he moved out to California, so he thought he could do it better out there. But
who was that from the Hackleburg I used to talk about all the time, Sonny?
Yep, he did. He did talk about that.
Who was that? Made Hackleburg. Who was it at Hackleburg of such a good singer?
Sonny James.
Sonny James. Every time somebody come on Barry on our show, I'd say Sonny James. Who is that? And I'd say Sonny James.
There you go.
It didn't make no difference who it was.
If a guy's singing through his nose, Wimp thought it's Sonny James.
All right, Coach. Well, wait till the afternoon to get in that liquor. Don't get in the liquor this morning. Wait till the afternoon. So.
Well, if you're going to keep me overtime, I need a raise in pay.
There you go. Thank you, Coach.
Thanks,
Thank you, bud.
All right. When we go out, when Dad does his Bryant Bank commercial, I want you to take us out in that music. That was good. I like that. All right, Dad, tell them about Bryant Bank before we go.
Well, Bryant Bank, we talk about it all the time. A lot of banks are closing. that the Bryant Bank is not closing. It's opening up even more places. They're absolutely terrific. The locations in Tuscaloosa and Birmingham, Columbiana, and various places throughout the state. If you'll go by Bryant Bank and visit with their head banker and the people that surround him, you will find a bank that's for you totally. Probably have the same zip code, same area code, same everything. The banker will know you. If he doesn't, he'll get to know you after one visit. And I think that you'll find that they'll do everything they possibly can to do a good job with your money. And number one, that's to keep it safe. And number two, to use it, whatever that you want to use it for, to help you with that. So go by Bryant Bank, tell them you heard Barry and I talking about it on Inside the Locker Room, and join up with them. And I think that will be great for you and your families. And whether it be a personal account, home account, or whether it be a business account, Bryant Bank will do everything they can to make you happy.
Crank up the music, Chase.
So I brought these pretty flowers.
Well, that's real music. Do you like this, Chase?
Yeah, I do. That's good.
And listen to this.
That's nice and soothing. That's a real singer right there.
Yeah, boy. He is a singer, boy.
Coach Sonny Smith brought this show something big today. You listen to Tide. Phone lines are open, 205-342-9904. You listen to Tide 100.9 and 1230 a.m. WTBC.
You don't know about
Tide 100.9 traffic.
Tuscaloosa traffic now from the Townsend Nissan Traffic Center. It's still moving with a purpose. However, that purpose-driven ride is a little slow on Skyland Boulevard right now. I am seeing some heavies in both directions of Skyland in between Buttermilk and 2059, actually. You're pretty much riding those brakes from time to time very heavily.
Feeling these changes within just a couple of days.
Text support to 511-511.
These statements have not been evaluated by the FDA. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. Tax fees may apply.
Tide 100.9 Tuscaloosa weather.
The long dry spell continues through next week. A sunny sky today, the high 71. Clear tonight, not as cold as recent nights, the low 45. Tomorrow and Sunday, the sky's sunny both days. Highs between 74 and 77. I'm James Spann on the ABC 3340 Weather Center on Tide 100.9. It's 43 degrees in Tuscaloosa.
Find Tide on Twitter @Tide109 to keep up with show announcements, guests, and our reporters in the field.
Welcome back to Inside the Locker. Been a fun show today. We appreciate Garth Listman. Wow, if you missed Garth, he's a little smarter than we are. He has some great ideas on injuries and scheduling and a lot of different things and how to make basketball relevant when football goes so long. So he's thinking along the same lines as we are. So that might be scary. But we do have a nap message here. We talked about injuries. RK from Gordo Dad says, review the injury. If it's determined a fake injury, give them a warning. If it happens again, take away a timeout. I don't know how do you review it, though, when you get over the side if you don't have a X-ray machine? I mean, they can put them in the tent. Who's going to review it? Are you going to have, we're going to have to have a guy on each sideline to review it? And what if they don't have a timeout? I'm not saying there shouldn't be some penalty, but I think that would be difficult to do, review it and determine whether you think it's fake or not. I mean, sometimes you don't know whether guys having pain or not.
I know one reporter who was doing the game, and they turned the camera on the guy when he pointed to the other guy to lay down, and so they had it. Of course, they can't go down and tell the official was doing that. Everything is for a purpose, and the purpose is to slow things down on the offensive end, to get people, back rested or whatever if you've gone a long time defensively. But the main thing is to slow up fast play.
Yeah, I've seen a guy in baseball coach. When a team gets on a rhythm, they want the pitcher to slow down. So he'll walk out there, he'll talk to the pitcher, kind of slow their momentum down. I think that's one of the reasons why that you can only throw over to first base so many times. I think the third time you got to get them out to keep that. But, man, it really does mess up teams' rhythm when you start slowing them down. Yes, Chase, when you slow them down. You got some on that?
Yeah, I see it kind of a lot, especially like in the major leagues.
Yeah.
It's annoying. I get why they do it, but it's like you're like slowing the game.
Yeah,
like,
but I talked to Jack threw yesterday for the first time to hitters, which was very nice. And actually, Coach Sproul called me and told me how well he did, so I was proud of him for that. All right, let's get to the Yellowwood hotline. Get Abe in. Good morning, Abe.
Hey, I don't know about y'all, but I like that 20-second clock or whatever it is. It kind of speeds up everything, so like in major leagues and I think in college, the batter can't step out and readjust all of his sweatbands and batting gloves and all that every time. Don't y'all think that's made it more enjoyable?
That, but I wish we had asked Garth this. On reviews, basketball, football, they need to put you have 1 minute to go look at the review. You got 1 minute. They stand over there and look at that thing forever. Now, sometimes they're trying to figure out, all right, the call was wrong. We got to move the football back. Let's make sure we get it the right yard line, this, that, and the other. But they got to put a time limit, Abe, on these reviews because to me they're too long.
Yeah, and then sometimes they review it and they still screw it up. But I got to tell Coach, man, I was pulling for the Yankees, but that game last night, that's one of the best baseball games I can remember seeing in a while. How'd you like it, Coach?
When we changed, I liked it in the end. When we decided to change pitchers, and they hit back-to-back home runs on us, I told myself, this thing's going to be over with in 4 games, and to think that we got the home run to tie it at 5-all, and then the home run to win it was, it's still going to be hard for, I know you're a Yankee fan, but it's going to be hard for the Indians to win. Got to go back to
It's the Guardians. It's the Guardians.
Yeah, but I like the Indians, but this ain't about sports. But Barry just talking about how the Democrats and Republicans, just hate each other. It seems like, to me, I'm about the same age as you, it started around 2000. Remember when Gore and Bush had that real controversial thing, and you had Jeb Bush was the governor of Florida, and you had the hanging Chad and all that. It seems like the resentment started then, and everything. But now I'll give the Democrats credit, like Clinton. Clinton, at least he had the deficit went to zero with Clinton. Now these folks, they're borrowing more money, than they're making and can pay back, and they're trillions of dollars in debt. I don't think it got sense enough to run a hot dog stand if you can't.
Yeah, all the just cutting each other up left and right. Just talk about what you're going to do. We see everything you're trying to tell us. You don't have to tell us. So.
Right, you're right. And another element to it is CNN started around the mid-'90s or early '90s or whatever, and you've got CNN and then Fox, and so they're kind of like stirring the pot because they want their ratings to go up, and conflict makes people watch, I guess. But
there you go.
But anyway, I forgot already. Who'd you have, Coach, for your blue plate? And I'll watch them.
I had Army, and a lot of points. I had Army over
-16.
East Carolina.
Yeah, -16. Who was your pick, Abe?
I like Georgia. I like Georgia in 5. I think we're gonna welcome the Longhorns to the SEC and give them a slice of humble pie.
Well, I may have missed that because I think that BYU game tonight, 9.5 is almost a lock, and I didn't take it.
There we go.
Who would you take? Who would you take? You'd take the Oklahoma State or BYU?
He rides the one that wins. BYU, baby. Take BYU.
BYU.
Have a good weekend, boys.
That means don't take BYU when we say that. All right, that blue plate's brought to you by my main man, Chuck Norwood. ChuckNorwood.com, buying or selling in Orange Beach, Gulf Shores, serving down there for 33 years. He'll take great care of you. All right, we'll get to break here. We got Larry, the music man, holding. We'll get to Larry when we get back and wrap up the show. You listen to Tide 100.9 SC home of Alabama Sports.
Tide 100.9 traffic.
Tuscaloosa traffic now from the Townsend Nissan Traffic Center. It's still moving with a purpose. However, that purpose-driven ride is a little slow on Skyland Boulevard right now. I am seeing some heavies in both directions of Skyland in between Buttermilk and 2059, actually. You're pretty much riding those brakes from time to time, very heavily specific.
At the cigarettes, but she just grabs the gum off the counter. Stand Up to Cancer and Rally want you to reduce your risk for cancer. Go to takeahealthystand.org.
Road tripping, business travel, or bringing your car in for repairs. All great reasons to rent a Toyota at Tuscaloosa Toyota. You can rent the latest Toyota models for a day, a week, or a weekend. Every Toyota rental car comes with 24 hours roadside assistance.
It's going to be a long game.
You're in good hands with Allstate.
Savings vary, subject to terms, conditions, and availability. Allstate Fire and Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates, Northbrook, Illinois.
Tide 100.9 Tuscaloosa weather.
The long dry spell continues through next week. A sunny sky today, the high 71. Clear tonight, not as cold as recent nights, the low 45. Tomorrow and Sunday, the sky's sunny both days, highs between 74 and 77. I'm James Spann on the ABC 3340 Weather Center on Tide 100.9. It's 43 degrees in Tuscaloosa.
Mr. SEC Tournament Wimp Sanderson gives you his excellent analysis every weekday on Inside the Locker Room, right here on Tide 100.9.
Welcome back to Inside the Locker Room. All right, Vern Godson, is that who that was? What was the name of that song that we were listening to?
Chiseled in Stone.
Chiseled in Stone. All right, get to the Yellowwood hotline and get Larry in. Larry, you ever heard that song, Chiseled with Stone?
Yes, sir. I'm going to tell you, I do a segment every Wednesday with Gary.
I hear it, yeah.
And I opened for my then band. I was backing up and coming country singer then in the 80s, and we opened up for him over in Savannah. He's one of the true gentlemen of country music. And that is country music.
Yeah.
He is one of the best that's ever been.
Larry, tell Dad where you're from.
My hometown is in Tifton, Georgia. I'm back and forth from Atlanta, and I'm down in Tifton now, or Ocilla, the family place here. I've been here since the storm hit.
Yeah, but weren't you up in North Alabama at one time for a while?
Yes, I was.
Yeah, so tell Dad about that. He's a Florence guy.
Muscle Shoals, Alabama. Yeah. Flame Studios and Muscle Shoals. Yeah. That's how Gary, actually we started our segment. Yeah. We've been talking about the Alabama connection for the last month and a half.
Done records, Elvis Presley and a whole bunch when I was up there.
Coach, I saw Elvis in Macon. I'll never forget it, man. The guitar player I was with.
He came in and shot baskets before he went on, and I went back there and talked to him. He had really gained a lot of weight, was struggling, but mentally. But
well, you know what got me on y'all's show? I listen all the time. Was Dadgum Green Onions on then? Whoever picked that, that's a great song. And I said, man, that's a good way to end the show with Green Onions.
Yeah, well.
But I hope Barry, I hope your mom and Coach's wife, everything goes well.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
I'm keeping y'all in my thoughts on that.
We just got to pray for her to get a positive outlook and realize she's got a lot of life to live and to fight. And that's the biggest deal.
Yes, sir.
Believe in herself. So she can do it. She's a great lady. Hopefully things will turn for her. So,
hey, I'm going to tell you what, yes, sir. The music scene needs more Vern Gosden.
Yeah,
I'm telling you.
You're right there.
The guys the great ones are gone, but we got their music. I'm telling you,
there you go.
He's one of the best.
Thank you,
yes, sir.
Thank you, Larry.
Thank you, Larry.
Yes, sir. Y'all have a good one.
Well, I'll tell you what, Chase. Let's end the segment on that song. So get that song going, and we'll wrap up the show. The blue plate's in. It's up in the cabinet, and so maybe there's a dessert plate tonight if you want to bet on BYU tonight. They play tonight, so you can catch a little BYU I'm sure there's some baseball on tonight as well. Let's see who's on tonight. What time that baseball is tonight? See if that's tonight. Let me click on Friday.
Cleveland's on tonight.
Friday, we got 2 games. 4:00, Dodgers Mets. That game's on. That series about over. And then you got the Yankees and the Guardians at 7:00. All right, Chase, you got my music. Crank it up. All right, let's crank it up and get out of here. I was wanting to hear some Vern Gotts in this phone. That's all right. Don't worry about it. All right, that's it for today's show. The Gary Harris Show. Gary's out. I hope he brought his key. He's out trying to open up Innisfree and get in there. And I hope there's people around to let him in. He's getting ready to start his show. I might go out there and see Gary. You listen to Tide 100.9 and 1230 AM WTBC. It's the home of Alabama sports. Have a great weekend, everybody.